What's up guys, Nightingale here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Gearing 101. How to get geared, how to get good, all that good stuff in today's video. So, I saw this actually not too long ago on a newer player stream, and I was internally screaming. It felt so inefficient for where they were in the game. Watching them move gear and how they were moving their gear around was it was scary. Anyway, so what we want to do today is I want to give you guys a overview of what is gear and where to get it and how to go about like leveling it up. So sit back and let's go through this. So first off, let's go ahead and talk about just gear in general real quick. So gear is a pretty great source of power increase for your units. This is going to be something that you're going to want to understand a little bit more in depth as you learn about your units. So in the early aspects of the game, you're not really going to be fussed with trying to worry about manufacturer gear. That's not something you have to be concerned with when you're just starting out wondering which team comp you're going to be getting. So think about it like this. If you're more worried about which units do I use here, figuring out which, manufacturer gear you need is not a question you need yet. That's something that's going to come later down the road. Now, you're going to see that my unit looks a little bit different than yours, but that's fine right now. I just want to show and establish this basis. What you need to understand is that there are 3 different types of sets in the game. You have an attacker set, a supporter set, and a defender set. So, as far as that is concerned, you don't have to worry about different games where they have all the different types of sets that do all these different mechanics and things like that. That's not necessarily what you need to know here. Now, if we come down to the unleveled piece that I have on Noir right here, what you need is just, we're gonna ignore those pink pieces right there for a moment. That's Endgame, and you're not there yet. I'll let you know. What you need to understand is that as you go about leveling up gear, that their main attributes, the equipment attributes, are all going to be the same. So some games you used to have a curse of having to go farm not only that set, but those extensive or those specific stats on a piece of gear. You don't have to do that here, thankfully. Now, I say that, but then they're technically you do in a different thing. But as far as your main stats that are concerned, your equipment attributes, if you look right here, those are going to be standard on every set for all the units. This isn't going to change. It's always going to be attack defense on gloves. It's always going to be HP attack on helms. It's always going to be HP attack on the chest. And it's always going to be HP defense on your boots. So this isn't going to change. So that's the good news of this. Now, eventually you will need to worry about getting those shiny little icons on the proper units. And that will go into a little bit depth later. But just to prove, if you look up there, HP attack is on the helm, and I'll talk about these later when we get to talking about overload gear. So as you go through and you start leveling up your units, you will have a plethora of different type of equipments that you'll be putting up, and you'll be wanting to, keep your highest equipments that you earn on those units. So you'll have to pay attention because you will need to, make sure that you're getting, attackers for your attack sets, your supporters for your supporters, and your defender sets for your defenders. So you can equip different ones. It's not like you can put in a defender. It's not going to be reduced stats because you put a defender on it. No, they just hard don't go on. And thankfully, you're going to get that annoying little orange, or that little ping that will show up saying, hey, you've got a piece of equipment to equip. I think if I do this, Noir is now going to have a ping, I believe. Nope. Yes. So you'll see it show up on these units that, hey, there's a piece of equipment they can equip. Well, not necessarily. It belongs to her. So, Noir had the, you can see that you have an upgrade, and you'll know which ones to go by. What I normally do is focus on your main team, because that's where you need your power the most. So, you need to get gear. Where are you going to get it from? Well, you've got a couple different places that you can get this from, depending on where you are in the game. A very light chance, and I mean it is light, is to get some from your outpost defense. Now, I just out of habit claimed this and didn't pay attention. And I should have kept this just for the video to show you that I had a couple of, I think it was tier 8 gear in here, tier 7, 8 gear in this that you can get through here. Now, this will go up as you play the game, but this is not the source, and you should not count this as where you're gonna get your gear. This is just, look at it as enhancement EXP. Literally enhancement EXP right there. So just think of the gear as just that. All right, well, where else can you get it? Well, depending on where you go in your stages, you can get a piece of gear on certain stage rewards. Now, is this where you're gonna need to go? Now, for this one, I'm just getting credits and battle data, but occasionally you'll come across a stage, typically it's a boss stage or like a halfway point. They'll reward you and be like, hey, here's a piece of gear now to help you out. As you get going, chances are that gear's kind of like, really? You're giving this to me now? I needed so much more than that to pass this, and thanks? That's pretty much how you're gonna feel when you start getting that yellow gear from the story stage. Now, there's a chance that when you do get there, you might actually be able to take use of some of it. Not saying you won't. And eventually, you'll even start getting rewards if we come up here and look at my main. You can see here, I wanted to save this, as you see one-sided deal, I get 40 manufacturer arms pieces. So these are the chests that can eventually summon a chest here. So you can technically get that through story, but that's gonna be too far in between. So where is our main point to get it from? It's gonna be inside the Ark. The Ark is gonna be where you're gonna wanna go. Now, let's walk you through these 3 basic things before we move on. So level D is where all new players are gonna go to want to punch up the screen. It's okay. It's part of the process. Just trust the process. Level S is where you will eventually find out if you have the DPS or the units. And then Interception EX is where you're going to want to rage your first few times through. But I'm gonna help you through this. So, level D is where you're gonna get started, and don't really get frustrated the first couple times this comes through. This is about learning the mechanics your first day through or your first times through, and then it's more about establishing as you build up, get those units, get your levels built up. This will become a lot easier. This one you'll be able to beat fairly quickly as you get the right units put into your comp and just start gear gapping this, and eventually you can just straight gear gap this no matter what. So, at your absolute worst of rewards here, you are able to obtain level 1 gear. Garbage. Absolute garbage. But it's at least a start, right? Because we need power to gain power. That's how this goes. Well, as you start making your way through, you're going to notice here at stage 6, when you start earning 1 million damage, you're starting to get this secondary loot chest. Well, what is this for here? So you're going to be earning up to tier 4 gear, which don't thumb your nose down to that, to tier 3 gear. And as you come up here, you have a chance to earn the manufacturer version. Now, the manufacturer version will help you out because it will increase your stats more than what the normal piece of gear is. So it will help push you through. But if you take a look here, you're only earning this at a 12% chance at stage 6. Well, as you work your way up, notice that it starts changing over to a new box. And here at stage 9, the final best in slot reward is you're going to get tier 5 gear with the minimum of manufacturer tier 4 as a reward. But it's a 36% chance for the 3 clears you get a day. But this is how you get established and get going. Now, once you've beat this, you will have to meet one of 2 requirements to get access to the next absolute most rage-inducing thing for a new player. And that is level S. Level S is Gravedigger. I would want to show this to you, but it's more embarrassing and almost a slap in the face to you than if I even open this stage up, because I'm going to beat this thing in about 16 seconds. That's how bad this is. So I'm going to just not make you feel like crap. And let's just say, I would love to show you the mechanics on this, but 16 seconds isn't long enough. That's what she said. Anyway, so, but here's where things start getting better. At the absolute minimum, you just get in and touch the thing or do no damage, you're guaranteed to walk away with tier 5 gear. So even if you were able to break through that barrier, it's now worth you coming to this place daily because you're also guaranteed a shot at getting the tier 4 gear and just your basic, you know, tier 4 or your tier 4 manufacturer and your tier 4 gear. But as you start working through this 400,000 barrier, it won't take you long to start earning new rewards. Around stage 5 again is where it's going to start taking up and going for the better, where you're earning just tier 6 and tier 5 manufacturer with some tier 5 gear. Great. So now we're earning more chances at that, and we're getting a chance at this chest, which is going to give us the tier 6 manufacturer. Again, it's just building it up. You're not chasing this yet. You're not wanting what I'm talking about later. But this is going to help you push through. So how does this progression keep getting better? Is eventually you have to come up with the 19,732,001 damage to beat this stage. And this is with the new player, this is really where the new player trap is. This 6 million to 19 million is what determines, do you have your team built right and do you have the skills to beat this? So, the good news for you is by getting to level 7, you're starting to get access to tier 7 gear. Getting access to this is huge for your account because you're really starting to get some stats thrown into your account. You're also earning your tier 6 gear and tier 5 manufacturer, so you're still making progress. Once you get to the end of this, we're gonna go to 8 because 9 you're gonna be moving on depending on where you're at. Is by the time you get here, you're gonna have a chance at getting just the manufacturer gear for tier 7. And you're gonna probably need almost an entire set of these on your core set of units to move forward. Because, let's be real, you're gonna have one of two walls that you're gonna have to get through. 160 or some sort of story power wall in order to gain power at this point. So let's go ahead and show you what sits behind the veil of gear progression. So you've beat this and you've beat the story requirement. Congratulations. Welcome to the big leagues. We're in the endgame now. So now it comes to just doing damage to get gear, because at this point, no matter what you do, this is a better case scenario than where you were because you're gonna start earning tier 8 gear. Tier 8 gear is gonna be a good portion of your power for quite a long time. In order to beat this, you will have to have the strategies and your teams invested into. The good news is you don't have to worry about levels anymore. That's right, you need to understand the strategy of the boss more so than having to worry about pumping levels into it. Because at this point, you can come in and now you've got to earn up to 62 million. Now you're probably panicking and about ready to have a heart attack because you just struggled getting 19 mil. Let me tell you that the forced level, what I want you to notice here, is it says down at the battle button, fixed level of 200. So, it comes down to being team comps is what's more important here. And that's really going to be the one for the other Gravedigger, is getting the team comp. Most people end up beating that with some sort of shotgun composition, or they just outpower it completely, or they use some sort of, you know, there's a bunch of different ways that players get through it, but majority of the player base that I've known ends up using some sort of shotgun-based comp to get through it as fast as possible. So, in the case of Gravedigger here, I will quickly show you that this is now significantly harder to do. And we're just going to take just a moment to go through. It's just part of the battle. And there is something I want to point out here. This is tinfoil hat theory 101. But on your phone, this is significantly harder than doing this on the computer because of how I promise you that they are tracking your cursor. So you can see that the Gravedigger is moving around, but I am able to override its movement. But when I play this on my phone, no matter where I move against its process, it is consistently, we're gonna fail this check here because we need all. Oh, we missed it. But you can, if you push, it's like a light magnetic push. That in here you have this, it's meant like it's tracking your finger. So because you're having to use the touchscreen, it's reading your input. So whenever you move, it feels like it's slightly pushing against you, pushing away from you at all times. So it makes it harder to catch up on. Where with the mouse, maybe it's just because I'm able to oversteer it, makes it a lot simpler. So if you do have access to the PC client, do go to their official website. It is linked at the bottom of this video. If you have not been there, it is no affiliate link. Don't worry about that. I'm not making anything off of this. Just this is free information for you to know. Download it off their official website. Install it. You can have both up, or you can have both different instances as far as you can have it on your computer, you can have it on your phone, and you can play between the account just fine. You don't, some games require, you can only have it on one, or you can't do, they're cool with this. Just don't log in at the same time, it'll kick you offline. So you can see that we were going through and we were getting through all the different skill checks, and that's gonna be part of the process, is you need the team to be able to do this. Now I'm using this team just because it works. I'm lazy and I need synchro spaces, and I need, to invest in specific units. So I'm trying to not like go too crazy here with the units. So I'm trying to use my actual built units versus I'm a person who likes to use what we have available to us. So I try to come up with some fun stuff, and there are some days where I've screwed up because I didn't test it. But in this case, you cannot auto these. These are not meant to be autoed. There are several mechanics, and I will be doing guides that do explain these later. But I was able to do 30 mil, not really trying, just sitting here talking and not focusing in on this. So you go through these and you work your way up. So the end game of this is to get to the level 9s. You want to be able to beat all of these at level 9, and here is why. You're guaranteed 20 manufacturer arms a day, which is basically the pity system for guaranteeing that you get a manufacturer piece. Now keep in mind, this looks great and it's awesome, but this is going to be an absolute troll to you as you play the game. This is arguably a very great idea with a poorly implemented system because of the abnormal gear. Abnormal will troll you because there are only 4 units right now in the game that are even worthy of putting that on, and they're both attackers and defenders. So while you start getting abnormal support, you're going to want to punch your computer monitor in the face. It's horrible. Or the worst one is you get, a bunch of stuff that you just don't need. Elysian, for instance, for me, shows up all the time. But you're going to be wanting to work your way towards, because in the beginning, this is huge power boost for you. Getting just tier 9 gear is fantastic. But we said we're in the end game now. Well, now this new chest at an 85% chance, so just remember that when it shows up 3 times in a row and you didn't get anything, you have the worst luck of all. Trust me, it happened to me today. I got 2 out of the 3 that were absolutely blank. Is that EX9 is going to be giving you these custom modules. These custom modules are what you're going to end up using to overload and to reroll stats, which we're about to talk about. As well as this can only be done on tier 9 manufacturer gear. So these are the ones that you really need to pay attention to. Now, let's go jump to a unit real quick and sum this video up so that you guys can understand the full processes and things that you need to understand. And we are going to talk about Tia today. That was not totally a subliminal message that I sent you in the beginning of the video by having our lovely tank defender here with the
where on earth did I
great
put my
stats
reptile
of gear. So let's teach you about just equipment and enhancing in general. So as a new player, a strategy that I use to min-max to be more efficient with my credits, because you're going to be spending a lot of credits in many different places as a brand new player, is to come in and only level up your gear that is below tier 9 to level 2. So that means you would come into a piece like this, assuming this was, below tier 9, and you're going to want to level it up. Now here's why. This is going to cost you 242,000 credits just to level this up. Now that may not seem like a lot, but then when you start thinking about all the other things you have to spend credits on, that's going to start adding up. Also, the experience of this is quite expensive. to start leveling the tier 9 gear up. Everything, each progression goes up. But this is a good stat increase without spending a whole lot of EXP and stuff like that, because you're gonna be trying to gain a lot and you're gonna be constantly flipping gear for such a long time. Once you get to this tier 9 gear, you're gonna hang on to it, and as you see, I don't even level. We do not level tier 9 gear. It stays at 0. Any of my units that has tier 9 gear, none of it's leveled. The only time I did it, because I was so desperate to push a stage, I leveled a tier 9 helm to +5 for my Scarlet, so I had the DPS to start beating certain pieces of content. Now, I took that risk, but I also had quite the XP reserve, and I had the credit, so it wasn't like it really hurt me. And I eventually foddered that helmet in later. But for right now, I'm going to teach you a basic thing, because there is a couple different missions and stuff that pops up, whether it be in Liberation. I believe there's one for like your mission pass. There's a few different times that you'll see some stages show up, some like missions that give you the enhanced X amount of gear. So if you want to beat that daily mission at the absolute cheapest as possible for 2,000 credits, you come over here and you spend a couple pieces and you go, all right, here's upgrade number 1 for the day. There's upgrade for the number 2 for the day, and there you go. You've now actually done your daily mission for upgrading 2 pieces of gear. Well, I didn't level up, I know. Congratulations, Watson, you are smart. Now, I do this up to 4 times on a piece of gear. Why? Because I think the maximum is 3. So there is 4, and then I finally slam up to level on the 5th enhancement. This way I know it's done and there's nothing that's going to show up in the game that I have missed that needs to have enhanced 3, enhanced 4. In case there's an enhanced 5, I got you covered. Is there an enhanced 10? Never seen it. So now that we've done that, let's do the let's level this piece up all the way, and I'm going to teach you about overloading once you get there. So we're gonna use all this gear, and yes, I will be using yellow gear as fodder. Now, we checked this out on stream, and I do have the experience to do this, which is why I saved it for the video. So I'm gonna go ahead and since we have already cleared this out, I am going to take this up in 1 click to level 5. Now, what you wanna make sure you always do is make sure you're not using the manufacturer yellow gear, because you never know when tomorrow could be the day you get that unit and you need it. Hasn't happened to me yet, but that's because I'm making sure I don't get to it. So we're gonna slam this up, and we're also gonna get a refund because we are slightly over. So there you go, and that's gonna cost 1 million credits just for me to get this done. So, huzzah. There we go, 2 to 5. Now we have a +5 piece. Now, I should tell you this level 5 piece this is the last time we can move this piece of gear. Make sure that you read the text here, because this is now bound to her. Right here. When we come to equipment modification, it says right there in big red text, so do not be the idiot who sits there and complains to them on some sort of message that you can't move this gear. It says modifying binds this equipment. So if you're that player who's that desperate to try to beat content because you're trying to wear your free-to-play badge a little too high up on your chest, this is why you can't do this. We're now going to reforge this piece, and we're gonna gain some stats for her. So let's come over here, show you the different possibilities. So chances are we can get elemental damage, hit rate, maximum ammo capacity, attack, charge damage, charge speed, critical rate, critical damage, and defense. So because of what Tia is, my big hope here is honestly it's increased defense, probably charge speed, and ammo capacity, hit rate. I don't really need charge damage because she's there. I need her to tank, not spank. So let's overload a piece for Tia. And we get charge damage, hit rate, and attack. Now, what's really crazy is those are all exactly the same rolls. So let's pop over here and see what we have. So according to the probability info, we have attack. We're almost max attack. We are, hit rate is 11% on hit rate, so we're near the max on that. And charge damage we're near the max on that. So we near max rolled this. So I would come down to, do I save the hit rate since we're almost there and now go for other things? So I'm not gonna re-roll this yet because I have to think about the repercussions of how I want to go about this, because this can get really expensive for me to lock some of this stuff up. So if you notice here, I click this little lock. It says I can lock this stat in for 2 of these crystals. Well, I want to go through and really study the stats before I start doing this, and I would rather overload the other pieces before I figure out what really needs to be fixed. So right now, we're just kind of taking what we get, because anything's better than nothing. What I will do is, because this chest place is absolutely garbage, I will re-roll this once for the sake of the video. So you do want to change some stuff, and it's just a complete and utter trash roll. We come down here to click, and you can see that we get charge damage, maximum ammo capacity, and nothing. So once again, we dodged a stat. We got worse charge damage. We now got maximum ammo capacity, which means less time she needs to reload. Now, I'm in an unfortunate position. I can't remember if she really needs max ammo or not, because that defense is mid-low rolled, so I'm not really fussed with that. But the less time she has to reload, I think, is better for the long term for where I'm at. Yes, I'm going to lose the tankiness. Charge damage, or the critical damage, I'm not worried about. The charge damage is arguably going to be better at this point because I'm not piloting her. I'm going to go ahead and take it and run this just because, why not? I didn't want to get rid of the defense, but this is going to need to be re-rolled so much more, and I need to double check the max ammo. So while I've got at least a max ammo thing, I'd rather be safe than sorry and regret not taking it over slightly more tankiness. So that's how you're going to reload reload your overloaded gear. It is expensive. These crystals show up only in the bottom reward on level 9. So you have to fully clear the stage to get access to that reward. And it's an 85% chance that you're dicing this or a piece of gear, which is why burst weekends are so great, which we will have one coming up. I think the 25th of October is the next one. So a little over a week from now, you'll be able to do to do the secondary burst weekend, where you'll get 2 rewards per, and that's when you start collecting these. Now, eventually you'll slow down on using these, but use them sparingly, because overloading your gear is more important than getting stats on it. But for the sake of the video, I wanted to go ahead and put one down on video to show you what it looks like so you know what to look out for. So, Tia's got an upgrade now. Congratulations. I will be working on right now, I'm just trying to get her gear overloaded before I worry about leveling it up. Now, what I want to tell you to finish this video up real quick is what is actually important on who and what to look forward, or what to look for. So there's a couple different things you need to understand as you play Nikke. There is a better place to level certain pieces up. We're gonna take the lovely Modernia here as an example. So Modernia is an attack-based unit, so she's definitely going to want the attack, and the best attack you're going to get in your upgrade is going to be your helmet. The helmet is going to supply the highest stats. So when you're using these attackers and you're feeling like you're really just short on DPS, your survivability isn't the issue, you need to be focusing leveling up your helm and your gloves, because this is where most of your attack is going to come from for an offensive purpose. Now, when it comes to a unit like, let's say, 2B, a lot of people here started on the Nier collab, and they're going to be chasing 2B. You're going to want to level up the chest plate first, because this is going to give her the maximum amount of HP. While you are going to get some attack, it is nowhere near the level that you're going to get in this. Just to show you as we take it up, you can see that we're getting 56,000 HP on it, which is going to get converted to attack, which will make her do more damage. So the further we push this up, the better off. So theoretically for her, all of her pieces are good because it's scaling off both things, but since her damage scales off HP, the chest plate is most important, and then the helm. Unfortunately, I'm missing the helm. But now let's go take another unit real quick from the Nier collab that is just the opposite. You do not want, if you're going to overload this unit, you do not level up the chest and the boots on her. You only level up the helm and the gloves, because you're trying to keep your HP pool low enough that you can heal it up a lot easier, but you still want the maximum attack from it. So you don't want to eventually 5-5-5-5 all 4 of these overload pieces someday. You'll take them to overload and then only level up her helm and her gloves. So when it comes down to a general practice, you kind of have to read their kits to make sure you see the fine details. Is something scaling off of attack? In the sense of, if we take Dorothy real quick, Dorothy is one of those weird exceptions who forgets she's a support unit. So where I was about to say with, you're gonna probably wanna level the chest and level the boots because you wanna keep this support alive. No, this girl forgot that she was a supporter and she wants her attack stats because she puts down a crap ton of damage. So you're gonna eventually want to level up her attack stats just as you get them. This one doesn't matter. It's whatever overload piece you get, you're gonna wanna prioritize that. So, understanding where to prioritize stats comes from different aspects. But for me, when it comes down to like a supporter, I'm probably gonna go into their chest plate first or try to get the maximum amount of HP. We just got the boot for Litter the other day, which was a great day. Just like I got the chest plate finally for Blanc, the most important piece for her. I've overloaded the other two, but now here comes Blanc and I'm finally able to get the most important piece. So she's about to gain so much more tankiness the day I can get to that. So that's really the sum of everything that you need to understand when it comes to gearing and getting the basics of gear. Level 2, basically +2, all the way up until you hit tier 8 manufacturer. You're gonna chill on that. You're gonna start getting your tier 9s, and then leave your tier 9s all unleveled, unless you just absolutely need it. Wait till you start getting your manufacturer gear, because you'll start getting the manufacturer gear once you hit that bracket of getting the yellow gear start showing up. It's really quick, so that's why you kind of don't want to waste the credits and the EXP, because you can just take it in and cost the same thing. Except now you're going to probably push it even further because you are getting the final stats. But make sure you don't overload weird stuff like, just as an example, don't overload your Crow. Crow is one of the worst units in the game, absolutely abysmal unit, and this isn't something that if it is your only SSR, you would still want to overload this. You want to save those nice missileless defender pieces for somebody else who really deserves it, like Tia. So, make sure you're leveling the right units as well. Should probably be one more good piece of advice, but I shouldn't have to say it, but just in case it's there. So, pay attention to who gets that overloaded gear first. Make sure they are good, make sure they are core based, that it's valuable, because you cannot move this gear once it's baked onto it. It's theirs forever. So, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments below. I'll be happy to help out. This is a pretty straightforward thing, but again, I know how questions can happen, and I'm all for it. I'm here to help you guys out. So, hit me up in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.